Okay. The interview begins.
Oh shit, no, I'm nervous.
I'm not nervous. You shouldn't be nervous. It's not going to be like...
No, sorry.
I'm not going to ask you the normal interview questions of, so why did you play music, and where were you born, and...
Whatever you got.
You must have been asked that a million times now, so...
Yeah, there's... So, how's the tour going? It's all good, whatever's a good departure. Whatever question you have, it's like, it's always... I'm not feeling it exactly, it's just a departure point for my agenda, so, whatever my particular agenda is that day.
What's your agenda today?
Just survival. Survival, goodwill,
It's good to survive, it's better than not surviving, I guess.
Yeah. Just goodwill, not put any hate in the world, just,
Oh, that's fantastic. It's so good to... Some people are just like, here's my ego, play with that, and...
Yeah.
You can kind of tell when people are like that, whereas, you're obviously not. You're just happy and bouncing. It's great.
Trying, working on it.
Yeah.
Aspiring to it.
That's cool. Were you always like that, or?
I don't know. It comes and goes.
Everyone's like that, I guess. Human condition.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, I couldn't help but notice you're in like a million bands.
I'm definitely in two pretty. Well, actually, I'm kind of in 3 bands. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play in a band called Righteous Fools sometimes too, but that's sort of taken the back burner to Corrosion of Conformity, which is temporarily taken the back burner to Vista Chino, because just the idea of playing music with these guys is so compelling. I like what they do, and just playing with Bruno and Brant, it's really good communication and just opportunity to improvise a little bit and play some Kaya songs and. Yeah, so.
How was that? I mean, the first time you played it, did it feel weird or wrong, or?
Felt pretty good. I got a phone call from Brant Bjork asking me if I could go to Australia in 2 weeks and play a set of Kaya songs primarily. And I said yeah, but it was a lot of work to actually learn someone else's songs, especially someone else's songs where the bass player is oftentimes Scott Reeder, who's really came up with some interesting, unusual stuff, and trying to reverse engineer all that was difficult. I mean, because my friends and I always were an original band because you could come up with your own songs and it was never wrong.
Yeah.
If like being in a cover band, I mean, people are disparaging of that
really
because it's not original, but you have to nail it.
Yeah.
It has to be pretty much exactly what people expect, or they're going to call bullshit. And there's an element of craftsmanship to that. So. And
with a band like Kaya's, I mean, you've got some boots to fill, I guess.
Exactly. There's a lot of variation from next time the same part comes around, it's different. And but thank goodness for like 17-year-old bass prodigies who put up their videos of them playing bass along to Kaya's on the internet. I was able to find some of the more difficult parts.
I've tried learning Kaya's on bass.
There's some. They should have just got these kids to play bass for them. Yeah.
Kaya should just be kids playing.
There's a couple. There's 2 people I owe a huge debt to as far as figuring out.
Name and shame.
I wish I knew who they were.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember, but. Yeah.
Well, this is gonna go on YouTube, so.
Yeah. Well, if you're out there and you got a Kaya's bass cover of Odyssey, you'd really help me out because I couldn't figure it out.
Wonderful. You've made someone's day.
Maybe.
That's great. Do you want to attempt to play cards?
Well, what's the game? You'd have to totally teach me the game.
Okay, I can't actually play most card games, so we could always just play Snap.
Okay, so what's the plot?
Okay, basically, we split the deck in 2. Right. And I'm sure you've played... Okay, that's not really half. I'm sure you've played this game before. All you do is you keep putting cards down, and if you have the
same
cards come out both sides, you have to put your hand on it and say Snap. That's all you do.
Okay.
And the person who gets their hand on it first wins.
Alright.
Yeah?
Alright.
Let's go for it.
Alright. So you're just going to flip it, you go first, and you're just going to...
We both do it at the same time.
We're going to flip a card and lay it down, yeah?
Yeah, like that.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Same suit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Snap.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah, that was.
I was stunned. Yeah.
You see the odds of that happening.
You see, you won right off the top.
1 in 52. All right. Another one.
What? Who cut these cards?
Not me.
I don't think they've been cut.
Should we cut the cards?
No, I mean, this is too much like...
If that happens again, then this is going to be weird. No.
Ah.
Okay. It's a conspiracy. The suspense.
There's one coming up.
There has to be. This is like minefield.
Oh, shit.
Nearly. Wrong way round.
Not much potential left.
Oh man. The suspense.
Snap.
Oh, you win!
Well, I didn't get the utterance out. You know, I got the groping in space, but I didn't quite get the.
This is why you normally suck at games.
Hey, you got more cards than me too. Yeah.
This is an odd deck.
I think he only got 51. He only got one joker probably. The ace of clubs.
Oh. I think it's a draw.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not very good with the cards there, you know.
All these people have these complicated games like poker and all the ones with the strange names.
And there's money changing hands
And it's all like from pieces of paper that are just squares with numbers on them.
Yeah, I'm kind of an oaf when it comes to the cards and stuff.
What do you normally play with then? Nothing. You don't play.
I sit around and
Your leisure time, there is none.
I just sit around and complain. No leisure time. I mostly serve dogs. I like dogs, or like, let's go do something, or
Dogs
feed
are pretty
us,
cool.
or like, you know. I just cater to dogs, or I go.
What sort of dogs? Big dogs, little dogs, all dogs?
Mostly medium. I got a Australian cattle dog who's something like a really short-haired border collie mixed with dingo that I rescued from a shelter, and she's pretty cool. And I got a American bulldog. It just looks like a pit bull, or a staffy, who's from a shelter, and he's a good boy. And then I got a Australian shepherd that's like it's like a rough-coated border collie or something like that. So I got two girls who were kind of at each other's throat in a competition, so then we got the bulldog to kind of round it out into a pack, you know.
Like a little family.
Yeah, because they was just trying to out-bitch each other. It was just total bitchery. Look at me. I mean, I literally looked at the one Australian shepherd, and she'd be sitting there smiling at you. She was literally two-faced. She would be smiling at you, and the other side of her face, she was looking at the other dog going, whoa, that's fucking ugly. We gotta do something about this. But they love the competition. They act like they want to do each other in, but it's just the
Dogs
drama.
get so jealous.
Yeah. So we just I cater to dogs, and you know.
You must really miss them on tour.
I do miss my dogs. That's right, big time for sure.
Do you like Skype with them or anything?
I Skype a little bit. They recognize the voice. But they'll smell the phone and be like, nah, this is just some monkey tricks. It's not real if it doesn't smell like him.
Aww.
You know? That's pretty much their response. They'll get up and look and, it's bullshit.
It's just a ghost.
Yeah, I don't know how their brain processes it, but I've watched it happen before, you know. It's just...
Dogs are really strange. I love them. I used to have a little King Charles Cavalier. He was the most stupid dog in the world. He tried to smell fire.
Oh, that's a lot of breeding to make a dog look like that.
Yeah.
A King Charles Cavalier Spaniel.
Yeah, it's so English. The most English dog in the world.
Is it really? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of... We won't say inbreeding. We'll say line breeding.
Yes, let's say that.
Breeding.
He definitely had some symptoms of that practice.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Well, the last regime of dogs that my wife and I had was another Australian shepherd, and then like a pit bull who lived out a full life. She got to be maybe 14, 15 years old.
Nice.
But when we got her, she actually had like a pedigree from like whatever the heinous, basically dog fighting breed standard, you know. So we got this fancy piece of paper, we sent off for it, and I'm looking on one side of the family tree, and the names are like Cajun's Old Red, Cajun's Gunpowder, and I'm looking over here, and it's the same fucking names, and I'm like, Lucy Dog, you only have one set of grandparents.
It's terrible.
She was great though.
Mine had like grandfather names like Sir Richard III, and like Junior, and the 5th of Earl of whatever.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's no...
I think mixed breeds are kind of healthier, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah. Or, barring that, dogs that are bred to do something instead of look like something.
Yeah, like St. Bernards, and they're beautiful.
Or you know, Border Collies or something like that. Yeah. Just,
What's your favorite breed then?
I don't really have a favorite breed, because I like the herding dogs, because they're smart politicians, and
So they try and herd you.
they may, not usually, a little bit. Well, you know, they'll get you going. If they're in a hurry, they'll just tend to be smart.
Would you ever bring one on tour, or is that not possible?
It could be a little challenging, I think. Just remember Trent Reznor brought his dog on tour in the height of popularity of Nine Inch Nails, and
I did not know
something bad happened to her, like it walked off a catwalk or something like that, fell to its death, or yeah, that's right.
That's pretty terrible.
I guess that's a freak accident that happens in
Yeah.
arenas or something, but yeah.
They probably wouldn't be happy either.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible you could. Depends on how you're traveling.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take one on a plane.
I think it would be ultimate freak out for a dog.
Heavily sedated. Although we just got back from, CSC just got back from South America, and we were flying from Lima to Mexico City, and there were some men who had fighting cocks in these special carrying special bags that you could carry them on the plane, and they had their names on them, their fighting names.
Cool.
It's kind of weird,
but slightly cruel and cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, that's kind of part of it.
Yeah, I guess.
Only on the flight to Mexico.
What was it like in Peru? Must have been pretty amazing.
It was a crazy city. It made me want to get up to the Andes and check out
Always
kind
wanted
of
to
like
do
the
that.
old thing. But this, you know, it's just the capital, coastal city, but it's still beautiful. I wouldn't recommend just renting a car and driving there. The motoring culture is a little. It's like everyone's playing a game of chicken, disregarding all signals. They're driving like complete maniacs, trying to, you know, a game of nerves, trying to force their way in, and doing all this crazy stuff. But the only difference between that and the United States, everyone's following the rules, but they're angry. In Peru, no one is angry, but they're ruthlessly trying to jockey for position and doing crazy shit that should get you killed. And they have to put up signs that say respect the traffic light. And then when no one respects the traffic light, they put a cop in the middle of the road, and they have to put up a sign that says respect the traffic cop. And nobody pays attention, just driving through red lights en masse.
Wow.
It's pretty insane. It's fascinating.
It must be kind of nerve-wracking when you've got all your gear and like.
Oh yeah. Well, we just kind of flew in, and they just had some gear for us there.
Oh, that's good.
But you know, having your person in that situation.
Don't you get like I don't know, I'm a terrible musician, I've only just recently started learning bass, but when you're going with new gear and you have to create a certain type of sound, do you ever get kind of nervous about having to make that happen all the time?
Yeah, I mean, just coming over here, I mean, you can, we don't bring any of our own amplifiers, so you have to hire that stuff, and had three amplifiers fail in as many days. And,
Damn.
they were sounding really good before they failed. But,
What do you normally use?
I mean, it's all To me, as long as it's a tube amplifier, it doesn't matter that much. They're just tools, you know. It's not the tool. It's the carpenter, as they say. Whatever, you know. Theoretically, whatever's around.
Okay, cool. Some guys get really nerdy about what they use.
They do, I know. Sometimes they get products in return for that. Nerdiness.
That is true. That is true.
But I want my product out front before I.
What product would you prefer?
Something reliable that sounds good. Something with valves in it.
Okay, something that's a thing.
An old circuit design with vacuum tubes, valves in it.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely know what that means. I just bought them.
I'm not gonna.
Don't bother explaining. People have tried.
I don't get enough love from any of these manufacturers and the classic names in amplification for guitar and bass guitar or rock music. They cut corners and they move their production, at least of their components, to third world countries where they don't pay people right, and then they don't really manufacture much of the stuff in the United States or the United Kingdom or someplace where one would get like a living wage. So I don't really. I might use some of their stuff on some occasion, but I'm not going to come out and say.
I respect that.
It's not so much that I have just like a bleeding heart for it. But it's just this stuff's not as good as it was. You know, I'm not trying to be like Bono and save the world or anything.
Please don't be Bono. That would be terrible. I'd cry.
Yeah. He does have a beautiful voice, though.
He has terrible taste in sunglasses.
Yeah, and he's always got something new. Some new terrible sunglasses, yeah.
Yeah, but they always have that weird sort of visor thing going on.
Yeah, he just hasn't gotten past the Terminator Oakleys.
I always think of Star Trek. I can't help but think of
that one, dude,
the
yeah,
Forge.
from the 80s, yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit terrible. So we've talked about dogs, not talking about amplifiers.
not any specifics. Yeah.
Really vague.
Something
setups.
old. I like something old. Like I could have bought something new, but I looked on the Craigslist in North Carolina, and there was a guy way out in the country selling an ancient bass rig, maybe something obvious that a rock bassist would have, and it was from the 70s, and
I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah,
I kind of
a refrigerator, a pair of refrigerator-sized cabs, and
nice.
an 85-pound lift to put the head up on top.
Wow.
And I went and got that stuff. I had to wait for it to stop raining. A day that wasn't raining, I took my little Japanese pickup truck and drove up there and got a pretty good deal on it and restored it. So I got something nice and old. I could have pursued some endorsement or some new stuff, but I was like, I'm going to try to do something, try to restore something old. It was a good decision.
Yeah, there are
But
bands
I can't bring that with me on the plane to Finland and London.
It must be precious to you as well. You wouldn't want to
move
it from its enshrined place.
Well, you don't want to get too hung up. It's only things. Just be disappointed if you do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I get kind of attached to instruments. So
instruments, instruments. If bad things happen, it's small enough you can take it with you, but the back line you might have to leave behind.
Have you ever had something horrific happen to your love?
What's been horrific? I had my bass stolen.
Oh.
And didn't get it back. And that was kind of a drag in the middle of making a COC record, Deliverance. Somebody broke into our rehearsal space over the Christmas holiday when no one was around, and we got some of the stuff back. We got Reed Mullins' drum set that he'd had since he was 15 years old. We got that back, and that was cool. And the guy that broke in and stole the stuff actually worked for a charity that was upstairs in the offices upstairs.
Wow.
Yeah. But I didn't get the bass back. But
That's terrible.
now on the trip over here, my bass was lost at Heathrow for like 4 days while I was moving around Finland trying to.
Whoa.
Thought it had vanished in thin air. I got the appropriate philosophical point of view about that, and then it was returned to me. So.
Oh, that must have been. That's a really good way of going about it because it's like a double bonus when you get it back.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe sometimes it's good to start with the worst case scenario first and work your way back towards an optimistic result. Right?
Yeah, I do that a lot.
You do?
Yeah.
What's the absolute shittiest thing that could happen? And
yeah. Thankfully, the world hasn't ended today. I haven't been stabbed 3 times. You know, it's good.
So it's a decent coping strategy.
Yeah.
I think
It works.
Yeah,
Gets you through life.
yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
So what do you do? How do you pay the rent? It's expensive city
I'm a
in London.
student. I'm studying 18th century studies at King's College.
Wow.
Yeah. And I also I work at a jewellery shop.
18th century study. It's primarily like English, European, or
It's interdisciplinary, so I'm specialising in romantic poetry, specifically of William Blake.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna have to dust some of that off.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, he's trippy as
Right
hell.
on.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I never went to college. I just had this. I just wanted to play music and smoke weed, and I figured any money, if there had been any money to throw at that situation, might have been wasted. And I just didn't feel like I had a clear calling, going to college. And I had a lot of friends who were older who had money from their parents and such, who just took it and just squandered it, like just being fuck ups, or they would, of course, change their path. And
People who change too much, they never make it.
yeah. So, but I could pass off as an educated person by dating college girls for a while.
You seem really educated to me. So
Yeah, vicariously. So, but yeah, I miss all that wonderful experience, and sometimes it shows.
Well, you can always recreate the experience. All you need to do is just get really drunk, and then not study.
And then at the last minute, put yourself through some kind of
hell. So
yeah.
it's traumatic. Although at master's level you can't do that. It's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
But if you love it, then you love it. So yeah. I kind of wish I did the whole touring musician thing though. I try.
There's time,
Yeah. I mean, I get my bass and I love it to bits, but it's not my first instrument, so.
Do you play with? Oh, what's your first instrument?
Technically the piano.
Oh, there you go.
But actually, probably the violin or the sax.
Well,
I can't remember which I started first.
Yes, yeah, that's cool. I kind of. It's interesting because I have no background in music. I just sort of figured out musical communication and scales and such by like starting with tablature of learning like chord theory through like literally a tablature of like rock and roll songs. And okay, these notes are good for a run. Now what are the notes in between these that get me from A to B? And just playing with people that knew what was going on. They tell me, well, this is more major, and your transitional notes are kind of like more minor. You want to avoid that, and then I sort of put it all together, and just by reverse engineering songs over time, I could tell you what a second is and a third and a fourth and a fifth. So, Bruno, of course, has been to like university and plays in orchestras and met his wife, but she's like a classical trumpetist, and he has all this academic kind of music background since he was 6 years old. But I can verbally communicate, with him.
I think that's
eventually
more
picked up
important.
the terminology, but I know people who are the best natural musicians that don't have any of that
I think
language
it can
and
hinder
music,
I think if you go you kind of murder it. like if you go too much into it and take it so apart that you can't fit it back in together, because it's all just bits and pieces. Like yeah.
I get that because for a while, like I don't play guitar in a band, but I play guitar to write songs and I come up with a lot of stuff just for fun. And my wife started taking lessons from a guy I know to play a lot of slide and play in open tunings.
Cool.
And when I picked up her guitar and started playing open tunings, I came up with the best stuff I've ever played.
I do
when
that
I
too.
didn't understand what the fuck was going on.
That's
and then as my
exactly.
mind put it all into order, then I just started doing all the standard unimaginative bullshit that comes with like knowing what the fuck is going on. So yeah.
I find that sometimes I just take a guitar and I'll tune it. Like I won't even think about what I'm tuning it to, but I'll tune it to what sounds nice.
Yeah,
and you get really cool songs and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The minute you can put it into order, then it kind of starts to drift towards
If you think
convention.
about it too much, then you sort of start doing the same shit. And
yeah. I don't know.
It's music.
Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I hope somebody comes to this rock show tonight. This is a big fucking barn here.
Yeah,
Big
it's
trolley barn.
very round.
It's good. I noticed the absence of parallel walls was as it's rumored to be. You know, there was no terrible. The reflection was pleasant. It wasn't like
Don't get dizzy.
Yeah. It's not bad sounding.
It's a pretty cool venue. Apparently they used it to store trams.
Yeah. Turn them around. They got to turn around somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Revolutionary. Sorry.
I've walked by this place a million times and never knew there was like an enormous music venue here, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They turned it into a giant musical instrument a few years ago. They put loads of pipes and stuff in it and the wind would go through it and like, yeah.
See, we don't have any funding for that sort of thing in the United States. It's just never going to happen.
Well, here the funding is slowly diminishing.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
Because rich people don't want to pay any taxes, I've noticed.
The politics over there looks horrifically complicated.
It's fucking stupid. You know, it's because there's unlimited corporate money to the candidates. So after a while, they just they're just beholden to their patrons. You know?
Why doesn't everyone run for government then?
Why doesn't what?
Why doesn't everyone run for government then?
Because people are. You know, you got to be the selected recipient of these things. You gotta demonstrate that you'll represent these nefarious interests. But you know, to some level, the electorate in the United States gets what they deserve by falling for the bullshit all the time. So it's like I can wrap my mind around all that, and I find myself talking about it, but it really it's less and less rewarding to dwell on it too much.
Let's not promote that aspect of humanity then.
It's like Robert Anton Wilson said, politics is really just the territorial pissings of fucking advanced primates.
It's kind of weird that we invented that crap.
Well, like parliament, like
it's so surreal, you know, some guys in a room deciding the fate of millions of people.
Well, you know, I think there's a way that it can be legitimate, but it just requires a lot of oversight, checks and balances, and at this point, reforms. And I'm more about reform than revolution, because revolution involves
starting from square one.
And it will mostly just, even to get to square one, it involves coercion, vanguardism, where you're like inflicting your, you know, you might be saying that you're fighting for the good of all people, but those people don't necessarily agree with that.
Yeah.
So it's like the vanguardism. It's like Leninism. It's much better to sort of make something that people already embrace and are more familiar with into the Platonic ideal of what it can be. You know.
Referring to Plato, that's great.
Wow.
Is your college education coming through?
No. I guess I used that word without even really thinking about what it means. Yeah, it is a reference to Plato, right?
Yeah. I thought the tonic ideal, realm of forms.
Yeah, don't mind me. I throw these.
That's
these
great.
Words around.
It's wonderful. It's better than so I play the bass and I make sounds happen.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? That to me, that's a kind of a better use of time than talking about politics, really.
That's true, actually.
I mean,
Yeah.
as far as given the amount of time you're given on Earth, I mean, trying to sort that other shit out is good luck.
Yeah.
To those who do, to those who endeavor, who have a conscience and try to make a difference, hats off to you.
There are ways of doing it without resorting to politics.
Ways to do politics without resorting to politics?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah. Exactly. Cultural means.
Indeed. Well, you're doing it right now by not talking about it, so.
Oh shit.
So meta.
Ah. So what part of London do you live in?
I actually live outside of London.
Where?
Hertfordshire, Potters Bar.
Which direction?
North.
North.
Yeah, upwards, where it's colder and windier.
Ah.
So you say you live in Carolina?
I live in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina.
What's that like?
Well, it used to be sleepy and conservative and an inexpensive place to live. That was almost like there was like a hardcore scene that was very word of mouth, very organic, very much a response to there being just nothing to fucking do. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of kind of original and fresh and just organic and less fashion-oriented than some sort of alleged counterculture thing that would happen in a bigger city. And then somehow